What's going on, everybody? This is Ryan from Marvelous ASMR, back with a video. Finally, I know. And today I'm going to be having Taco Bell that I DoorDashed, but ooh, the table shake. Crunchwrap Supreme, Cinnabon Delights. I'm gonna save those for later because I don't want to. I'll try and make this pretty for a thumbnail. Let's see. Okay, they gave me a whole bunch of sauce. I didn't even ask for sauce, but they gave me a whole bunch of it. Because this Taco Bell that I go to, this Taco Bell that I order from, it might be Taco Bells in general, but they don't. Their stuff is just meant to be wrapped up and taste nice. It doesn't really look that appetizing, you know. But I'm gonna try out. Should I put the cinnamon? Oh, and I also got. Actually, I have two Mountain Dews because I accidentally ordered an extra. Is that good for a thumbnail? We can do that. Ooh. But what if I was like, how am I going to stack the Cinnabons? And then, This is a long-ass intro. The longest intro I've ever done. Really making you guys wait. I'm doing this Morpheus ASMR style. Setting it up and then letting y'all watch. Then maybe that looks better. Get the Taco Bell logo there. Alright. So, let me go ahead and get into this. That's pretty crunchy. So, I have been absent for another little bit. And I meant to post the video before I went on the trip. However, there was stuff leading up to the trip that I had to do. So, my bad. So, it was my dad's birthday. His birthday was the 5th. So we went out to Biloxi, which I've told stories about. But if you're a new viewer and you're unfamiliar, and I actually, when was like, oh, we went to such and such place, you know, Biloxi, Mississippi. Some people seem to be aware of the area, and others don't. It's not a super popular town or anything, but like, if I said, oh, hey, I went to Atlanta, you're just like, oh, I know where Atlanta is. Oh, if I went to Houston, you don't know where Houston is. This place isn't that metropolitan. But it has a lot of casinos there. Of the ones that I've been to, there's the Harrah's, the IP, the Beau Rivage. I've been to the Scarlet Pearl, but I haven't played there. I mean, there's literally like there's like 5 of them. And there's Hard Rock down there. Golden Nugget. And these are like big casino chains, so I figured that someone might know. But nevertheless, I always have to explain it. Which isn't that bad, but so we pop off there, and I have some footage. I meant to get more footage and photos and all of that, but I don't think you can video inside the casino, and I was too nervous to try. Like, if you can video inside of a casino, I was too nervous to do it. And I really wanted to gamble. So day one, my dad and I think we leave shortly after, a little bit after 7:30 from the house. And get packed up when we get going. I'm always late. I'm always up late. So I never sleep. Night before. I just stayed up all night and we left that morning. And so we're driving along. Get Chick-fil-A for breakfast. That was pretty good. I had 2 sausage, egg and cheese biscuits. And my dad had, what did he have? He probably had the egg white. He probably had the egg white girl. And he got hash browns on the side. I think he had one of the sandwiches for sure. But like the egg white girl muffin is probably what he had. So I had down. Nothing too eventful happened on the trip there, but I had a couple cups of coffee before we left. So like, it wasn't even an hour into the trip before I needed to like use the restroom, and we were in a dead zone where there was no places to pull over and like, you know, to pull off to like a gas station or anything. So in true Southern fashion and road tripping fashion, because I know you Northerners do this too. I think it's a road tripping thing for sure. You know, you pull over to the side. There's like a grassy area, and then you just, you do a wee. And I was like looking over, making making sure no cop was. My fear is always that like I'm gonna be peeing on the side of the road and then a cop sees me and then has to pull over. It's like no public urination, sir. But that has never once happened and probably will never happen. Where's Wood? And get back in the car. We keep driving. Now Biloxi, Mississippi, to where I live is about like 5 or 6 hours. And so we get there. It's a long trip, but it's fine. I was on my phone, you know, messaging in Discord on my iPad. That whole thing. Watching shows while I was on the way there. I'm so glad that I got an iPad with cellular data. Because watching shows on it in the car when I'm doing my like medication I get every month, infusions. You literally just you lean back, you have it in your lap, and it's like right at the correct size where you can hold it with your hands and get like a mid-grade movie experience. It's pretty good. But I think it's a 9th generation iPad. But anyways, so we finally get there to the casino, and we go and we park, and then we walk over, and my dad has a friend who I've known for like, I want to say I've known him for at least 10 years, because I remember being in high school, and this is a complete different side tangent, but when I was in high school, and that was almost 10 years ago, because I was like 16-ish, and I'm almost 26, so yeah, about 10 years ago, and my dad, like they would have these like Saturday morning meetings at Steak and Shake, because they'd have to, a part of their job was having to make sure that they were up early on certain Saturdays. They always did it on a Saturday, so if I woke up, I didn't have school and everything, so if I was up, and I've always been a night owl, I'd be up gaming or something. And and for those specific meetings, he'd be up at like 5 a.m. So I'd be almost trying to go to sleep, and he's like, "Hey, you hungry?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so I'd go with him to Steak and Shake. And so I've known him for that long. Known of him. Known that he was my dad's buddy for that long. And so excuse me. And so as we get into the casino and I'm ready to gamble at this point, so is my dad. He's like, we didn't even get our luggage up to the room because we're waiting to, we had to wait on my buddy, or my dad's buddy, to get there in order for us to like check in at the same time. And check-in's at 4, but because like we left at a certain time where we were already gonna get there, I think at like 2 o'clock. Is that correct? Yeah, that's correct math. We were gonna get there around 2 o'clock. The time goes back an hour, but then we also took like, because of eating and multiple restroom breaks, it's, that increases travel time by about an hour. So we get there by like 2:30. can't check in till 4. We go up, we park. By the time we're in the casino and we're settled at a table, it's like 3 o'clock ish. And so, me and my dad, he gives me like $100. I mean, because I don't have anything going on besides the YouTube channel, and like I don't have income or anything. So he gives me money to gamble with. Gives me like $100, and so me and my dad, we like to bet on craps. And my dad introduced the game to me and my brother. But I need to actually learn it. These last 3 times I've went. Excuse me. The last 2 times I've went. I don't think I gambled the last time we were at Biloxi. I don't think I gambled that much. And then the time before that, we were gambling, but it was still like a nerve-wracking experience compared to when I first turned 21 and went and gambled. Now that I'm basically 26, I'm gonna learn that game. I don't know all the rules. I know how to play the game. If I'm at a table, I can be comfortable going up. I know enough etiquette that I can place bets, and I can have a general sense of how to make money. Good strategies and bad strategies. But I don't have okay, now we're moving on to Mountain Dew number 2. And Baja Blast, obviously. And so we get in, we start betting. He gives me 100 to bet with. So the table, I can't remember everything that happened that night, but so we start gambling, and then what happens with craps is the basic understanding, if you're unfamiliar, is that there's a person who rolls dice, and the objective of the game is that you are trying to bet on numbers that you think the person is going to roll, and then you get made back a certain amount of money based on what you bet, and every table has their own minimum bet. So what happens is, I'm just going to explain the gameplay. So someone goes in and they have to put their bet on. I might put a graphic up, but if I don't put a graphic up, then just look it up on Google. But there's something called the pass line. Pass line means if you are betting that the person who's rolling is going to hit their number before they roll a 7. And the reason why it's 7 is because they're rolling with 2 die, and the number that they're most likely to hit is a 7. Because there's so many different ways to roll a 7. But before they hit that number, they could roll a bunch of different numbers. And so, on a craps table, you'll have numbers 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. And then you have the come area. And then you have the don't pass line, and then the pass line. And a lot of different craps tables are different. There's something called a crapless table. That's what we were at. And what that means is, so when the person who's given the dice, and this is pertinent to the story, I'm telling you, when the person who's rolling is given the dice, their first roll is called the come out roll. And this can be explained later, but yeah, this will be explained later in my explanation. So when they first roll, you are going to lose on a 2, a 3, or an 11. Those are craps numbers. But if you roll a 7 on the come out roll, everyone makes money. I don't know why that is. Probably on your first roll being a 7 is so low that you earn money. It wouldn't make sense if that was that the dealer would give you like a good amount of money for that, you know what I mean? So, or at the casino, right? I'll look up the reason after. I'm done with this video. But, or if you know, and you're a fellow gambler, I'm very new to gambling. So, if you're aware, let me know. But, excuse me. So, what we do, we get there. It gives me $100, and I'm losing money. 7 after 7 after 7, and the whole week was like that. I'll get to that, but we lose money 7 after 7 after 7 after 7, and me and my dad were like, it's getting a little disheartening. Like, dang, we're not making anything. I started with 1, and I think my dad started with 300. He usually gets in for about like 300, doesn't open it. And then, so, lost my train of thought. Anyways, yeah. So you don't know. So my dad, because my dad's buddy, is calling it because he has a trailer and he's trying to figure out where he can park like an RV, like a trailer RV. I guess it'd be called a camper, right? But it's the one you can tow. And he's trying to, and he was under the impression that the casino we were at is called Harris, and he was under the impression that Harris had this like a hookups or RV spot specifically for specific parking. They ended up parking like right across from Harris, but my dad had to go out there and help him do that, help him figure out how to park, and how to park, but like straighten it out and stuff, where to park and everything. So my dad leaves the table, and in case you're wondering, in a casino, they have so many cameras and whatnot. If you're on a table and you leave your chips there, you can get up, go, like, leave for a certain amount of time and come back, and your chips are still going to be there. No one's going to take them. Because if anyone takes them, they know who was playing there. And also because when you give the money to the dealer, if you give them your card, they enter you into their system so they know who was playing there at that time. So it's like the idea that you would like lose your money or get it stolen from you, and like the dealer wouldn't have some kind of recourse for that. Like the idea that, or the casino or whatever, wouldn't have any recourse for that. It's totally safe, and no one's gonna touch it because no one wants to steal, right? But I'm there, so I'm watching his chips. He gets up, he leaves. All of a sudden, we start winning some money, and I start recuperating a little bit. One of the last things I did, along with my dad, I don't know if all crap stables have this. Actually, some of them don't, but this particular crap stable, the ones at Harris, they have the all tall and the all small and the all. And so what happened was, I believe, I don't know if I was on the all tall. I don't think I was on the all tall or the all small, but I was rolling, and well, it was a little bit before I was rolling someone. I started like making. I'm trying to remember the whole story. I'm losing my train of thought. But in other words, my dad was on the all tall, the all small, and the all. So what happened is that when you bet, I think it's like you put $5 on each, and then basically it's about like the sequence of numbers that they hit before the bad number, the 7 is rolled. So someone who was rolling hit all of those numbers and then pays like 150 to 1. So my dad left and came back and had like $900 more than what he had at his in the initial. And so yeah, he like $900. Then he then what was already there left. He may have had 150 or whatever. I had like a little bit of money left, but even I came up, and I was rolling. So I think this did happen when I was rolling, not the all tall, all small, because I ended up asking what happened there, because someone at the very end was losing their mind because I think he was betting a lot of money on that, and so I was looking. Take another bite of this here. Take a bite. On my roll, I rolled a couple times, and because of my pass line bet on myself, whenever you get your number, you win. I won a couple times. I can't remember what I was doing. Genuinely, I should have wrote it down, but I ended up either I was on the all tall, all small as well, which is what got me paid, or while I was rolling, or the other case scenarios, while I was rolling, I ended up having such a long roll that I brought myself back up from, I think I had up $22, and the minimum bet was 10 on that table. I walked out of the casino with $500. It was an insane night. Like, and I want to say I was up more than that, because I ended up betting a few times and lost a little. And then my dad said, okay, let's go. I'm going to go cash out. Because once you're up in a casino, that's when you cash out. You don't want to keep playing after you hit it big. You want to cash out then, so you don't lose it all. So we go cash out. My dad's up a bit. I'm up a bit. Really insane night. It felt like I was on cloud 9. But I'll say I did decent, because there's people who go in the casino and they'll clean up thousands. They won't go in and just... Now, they're also, to clean up that big, they're also playing with thousands. Or at least 1,000. People regularly bet a regular buy-in at the casino. They'll put 1,000 out there. There's this one guy I saw. We went over to the Golden Nugget. And he's playing the don't pass line, which means it's the opposite of a pass line. He's hoping that he'll roll a 7 before he hits his number. And he was putting like a stack of black chips on the don't pass line every time, and a black chip on the craps table. I don't know if it's similar. I don't know if it's the same in all casinos, but black chips are like that's $100 a piece. And he had a pack of them like that every time. So that, I think it was like $1,000 each bet. And he did. I saw him do it at least 6 times. At least. So he was losing thousands of dollars to win, like, but he won back. I saw him win like 2 or 3 times, but he spent thousands of dollars. I don't know definitively that it was like $1,000 each bet. It could have been 500, but even if it was 500, he still lost a couple thousand, you know. But I have an insane good first night at the casino. And I'm messaging friends and stuff. And one of my friends goes, yo, have you ever seen the movie 21? And I was like, no, but I've heard of that name before. So I look it up. It has Kevin Spacey in it, Jim Sturgis, and Lawrence Fishburne. And that movie is a casino movie. It's about how, man, I was not expecting to be that full. I usually get a burrito or a burrito supreme on top of all this. I don't get 2 Mountain Dews or normally though, but it is what it is. So it's about this college dude who's currently working in MIT, or currently going to MIT. And he wants to go to Harvard Med School. At the beginning of the film, is this his interview? And with Harvard Med. And basically he's going for this, he's going for a scholarship, which is a full ride. That scholarship, basically it makes him a full ride, and that cost to go to med school like $300,000. What I found is interesting also, I mentioned this to my dad, is that $300,000 now is a lot of money, but back then, because this movie came out in 2008, so that would have been around after like the 2007, 2008 financial crisis. And like, that was a lot of money back then. I mean, a lot of what happens in the movie is really like, it's I wouldn't say it's like a classist movie, but like, oh, $8 an hour. And there's even a joke. I remember I started working at Chick-fil-A for $8 an hour. But there's a joke in the film where it's like, he becomes an assistant supervisor at it's basically the movie's version of a Men's Warehouse, where there's like people selling you suits and ties and stuff. And he comes out of like a assistant supervisor there, and he's making $8 an hour. And he's like, and one of his best friends looks at him, he's like, well, you sucked. Why'd you suck him off to get $8 an hour? And the guy's like, yeah. He's like, and then he mumbles to himself, he's like, I'd suck him off for $8 an hour. I was like, Jesus. But so he goes to Harvard, he goes to the interview, and basically the guy tells him like, hey, you are like exceptional, but if there's 75 or 76 applicants with the same with the same credentials as you, so why are you special? Like, why should we, give it to you, you need to have a life experience that is worthy of, like there's something about you that needs to be unique, a unique enough experience that we can let you in. You need to set yourself apart from the other applicants and stuff. And then it cuts to him going to I believe that's when he goes to the men's warehouse and everything. They start taking you through his life. Enter Kevin Spacey. As the math teacher. Say what you will about Kevin Spacey now. It sucks out that happened, that he turned out to be the person that he turned out to be, but bro was great in some films. And he's like giving this presentation. The classroom thing. He's like, hey, so how are we gonna solve, for this equation or whatever? Newton's law of whatever, like some action or equation. Either Newton come up with or some famous mathematician. And the guy, the main character, basically says I'm really smart. And impresses the teacher. Until the later, he invites this particular student to go to be a part of this particular club or what have you. And so he goes there, and it's revealed to him that what this particular teacher does, and a bunch of other of his students, his best math students, he puts them together. They go to Vegas every weekend, and they count cards, because the reason the movie is called 21 is because, it's blackjack, right? So it's like 21 is the number that you need in order to win, and you're trying to beat the dealer. So what they do is it's the only game in the casino that can be beat, is what the movie claims. And the way that you beat it is by counting cards, so you know the probability of when the deck, of the probability of when you're gonna beat the dealer or not. And because he's really good at math, and he can do, he seems really smart in the classroom. They teach him, how to, he reads the books, and then they teach him how to do the counting cards thing and keep an analysis in your head, knowing what the count is, which is basically just you keep count of how many high value cards have been played, so that way the probability, when you need to bet, when you need to bet more and everything, so that you can beat the dealer. And so then he gets introduced into that, and then he's like, oh dude, I don't want to do that, I have so many things going on. A side plot to the movie is that for the last year he's been working on this robotics thing with his friends, and it's a self-driving car type of thing, and a self-driving, it's the software and the robotics for a self-driving car, and they've been working on it for over a year. And he's like, I gotta focus on that. I gotta focus at my assistant supervisor position at the I forget what they call it in the movie, but the men's warehouse, the suit place. And I gotta make sure that I can do those things. I have responsibilities. So he denies that and he leaves. And then there's a girl in that class, or there's a girl in his class that apparently has 3 classes with him, and that also is in with the same teacher. And she comes to the warehouse, and there's this really cool scene. Well, it's a romance scene of like her saying she wanted a tie, putting the tie around his neck, and then like tying the tie around his neck while trying to convince him to be part of this club. Because, hey, listen, Harvard Med is really expensive, and he didn't even know if he could get the, he didn't know if he could get the sponsorship or not, like what is it called? Not the sponsorship, scholarship. He didn't know if he could get the scholarship or not, so he eventually did that, and he learned everything, and then they teach him it all. And also, funny thing enough, they invited him to this like underground casino, and he goes in there, and then he gets abducted into a room, and then because he was keeping the count, he gets to a table and he keeps the count, but then eventually people abduct him, bring him into a room with a bag over his head, and then someone, you could tell it's Kevin Spacey's voice. He has a deeper voice. He's like, what's the count? And then he's like freaking out. He's like, what's the count? And then he ends up saying like +13 or whatever the count was. And then he's like, sorry, main character's name, I forget his name, but he's like, sorry, MC. I'll call him MC. He's like, sorry, MC, I gotta make sure that you're gonna keep the count under pressure. Welcome to the team. And then, so they go to Vegas a bunch of times, and he's cleaning up, and he loves it. And he's making a bunch of money, and he's having a lot of fun. He's paying for his own college, his own way, because he has this little speech before he does all this, where he's like, I've worked so hard to be, like, I've done everything right. I've given up on so many different things in order to be able to go to college and go to Harvard Med, because this is my dream. And I'm not being allowed it just because I'm not exceptional enough. And then the only thing between me and my dream is money. That's like literally what's said in the movie. It's like the only thing between me and my dream is money. And he's like, it's just under 300, and he tells the teacher it's just 300,000. After that, I'm out. Foreshadowing. And then he's like, so he does that, and as he's going on these weekends, he has to dedicate more and more time to this. So he's not as able to spend as much time with his friends. He kind of blows them off, because what he's doing isn't illegal, like counting cards, but he can't tell his friends about it, because then his friends, it's not really out of fear of judgment. It's more like, I can't let them know that this is what I'm doing, because like, in all actuality, he can't talk about it. If he talks about the club, it's because the teacher says, yeah, no, seriously, don't talk about it. I would hate for your like grades to be in jeopardy or whatever, because when he leaves initially the first day, he's like, oh, don't tell anybody about it. I'd hate for you to, not be able to get into Harvard or whatever. Threatening his livelihood. Sorry, I have something stuck in my teeth. Anyways. And he's like, yeah, just threatening his livelihood and stuff. Threatening his, like, future if you don't, like, obey what I said, basically. And so, but that was before he, like, came back and was like, yeah, I'll finally do it. But he's going like, every weekend, and then so he's spending less and less time with his friends. He ends up quitting the men's warehouse job, because he doesn't need it anymore. If he's doing this, he's making, like, I think 10K or 10 to 15K a weekend, something like that. So he's making, they said something like he makes more money on a weekend than he makes in a year. So like, whatever that means, right? So like 20K a weekend or something like that. And so he keeps doing it. He has so much fun. He starts building a relationship with the girl that came to the store, the blonde girl in the film. And so another side plot that gets introduced is because they're doing this so often. Lawrence Fishburne's character, he works at a casino, and at the casino, and his entire job is to catch people that are cheating, and he keeps losing clients. His company keeps losing clients, because apparently there's like this facial recognition software. The 2008, what's happening now was being like, they were putting in movies back in the early 2000s. Self-driving cars, facial recognition software. Facial recognition software that's going to, I don't know if we had that in 2008. We probably did if we were making movies about it. Never mind. But anyways, there's this software that catches cheaters, and like, there's this whole database for it, and so they're losing people to that. And so a subplot of the movie is like, the AI is taking our jobs. But, which is like, compared to nowadays. And, so he eventually notices that there's this guy, they use fake names and fake IDs and stuff. Which is actually more surprising that the casino didn't catch that. Because that's like never brought up again. It's just the fact that they have fake names. The only thing they can catch him on is the face. And he had new personalities coming back there every time. So this, he had a new like disguise or something that he was. And, because I think they did rotate casinos. But anyways, they kept doing that. And I'm trying to think about like which details, like how do I speed this up? Or not speed it up, but make it more succinct. And so what happens is like, he comes back there a certain amount of times that eventually he does end up. Wait, but does he get caught? Okay. He has a blowout with his friends. Because his friend, he ends up buying the wrong, because remember she said they were working at they're working on the robotics thing. Well, he ends up buying the wrong chip or something for the microchip, for the processor that it's for the actual robotics thing. And so then his friends are like, hey, I don't think your heart's in this anymore. We're gonna have to you can't work on this with us anymore. We're gonna work on it by ourselves. Because they felt hurt, because he keeps bailing on them and like not being around for them. And so they're like, well, if your heart's not in this anymore, we're just gonna do it by ourselves because you can't slow us down anymore. Like, they want to compete. And then he has this little blow up thing where he's like, yo, you know what? No one cares about the 209, which is the competition they're doing. And he's like, you guys are just like, you do this because you're just doing it to make yourself feel special. No one cares about this in the real world. You guys are losers. And it's like, dang, that's harsh. But then, because he's feeling bad about being kicked off of that, they have this rule where you're not supposed to get emotional, and when people tell you the account's getting bad, you're not supposed to, because they have a whole system, but I'm not going to get into it. Basically, well, I am going to get into it. You have big players and you have spotters. The spotters will sit down at a table, and then they're going to be like, okay, the deck is getting hot. They play the table for a while, and then they're like, this deck is getting really hot, and they signal the big player to come in and bet at that table and put in a whole lot of money. And then they're supposed to signal. They're supposed to keep the count, but then also the big player is supposed to keep the count as well. But if the big player forgets, the spotter's also supposed to just always keep the count. And they signal to each other whether or not they need to leave. He has such a bad day at that he essentially, he has such a bad day because of that. He basically gives away all the money that they were going to win that weekend. Because he doesn't care, because he lost his friends and he realized what he did and he feels super guilty about it. Then he goes back in because he gets kicked off the team, essentially. But then the main guy is Mickey. He leaves, but he tells everybody, look, we don't need him. We have our own money. Let's just go back in there and do this again. He goes in there, does it again. Lawrence Fishburne catches him, takes him into the back room, and basically beats him up discourage him from cheating in his casino again, because apparently we have to. It's 2008. It was a wild time, and then he goes back. He realizes his life is crap. He doesn't have anything. He goes back to Mickey, which is the guy who's the math teacher who got him into this, and math, he's the ringleader. He convinces him to go back there, and the last basically 30 minutes of the film is they try and do it all over again. This time with disguises. They won't catch us, and he ends up giving a pension. Anyways, I got ahead of myself. You find out that this Lawrence Fishburne guy and Mickey, they have history, because Mickey ran up a whole bunch of casino. He ran up a casino that Lawrence Fishburne's character used to work at, and he got fired from that casino because he couldn't catch Mickey, and so he has beef with him. So he wants him. So the whole plot was to get back at Mickey by bringing him back to the casino, doing it with Lawrence Fishburne's character. Him catching Mickey, and then they were gonna walk away with the money, but then he's like, hey man, because of this facial recognition software, I need that money because I don't have a pension with the casino gig. And he's like, okay, fine. So he gives him the chips. So they go back home, but then get this. He gets his friends he becomes Mickey basically, because he brings his friends to be spotters or big players, or to be basically big players, so that they can keep doing this. Oh, I forgot to mention, when he came back, because he lost all of Mickey's money, Mickey stole it all. Because the entire time, Mickey was the main guy was hiding his money in the ceiling, because it had those tiles that you can press up, and then you can put stuff up there. That's how people hid things in the 2000s, yeah, so he was hiding his money up there. He came home and everything was ransacked, and Mickey stole his money because he was getting paid back for all the money that he lost. So basically, he's starting from square zero again, and he got his friends involved. And then at the very end of the film, you realize that he's telling this entire story to the person who's gonna give him the scholarship for school, and then his mouth is wide open, and then end credits. So, I thought it was a really good film. I probably would give it a 7 out of 10. So I'll make sure to give it like a, whatever the equivalent of that is. Like, I guess a 3.5. Yeah, 3.5 out of 10. 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I think I did give it a 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. But yeah, I thought it was a really good film. I really enjoyed it, and I think the ambiance of me being at the casino was what made it especially better. But just to wrap up the casino story, that I ended up losing a little bit of it. I ended up playing roulette as well. Roulette, I don't think is my game. I gotta learn some strategies about roulette. Because I didn't know anything about roulette, because I was trying to put my money everywhere and I was being taught the rules. But I need to learn the strategy for roulette, because my dad gave me 100 to play with on the roulette table, and I only lost 80. I only lost $20 or $19 of it. So I made it out of there with 81. Like, I don't know, whenever I'm given money to bet with, I don't like throwing it all out there and being super, extra with it. I want to conserve it, because I want to leave there with more than I came in with. So if I came in with nothing, I want to leave there with money that I can have to do things with. And that's kind of the point of what we try to do when you have fun at the casino. If I don't go there with anything, then if I make it back with 100, that's plus, But yeah, so that's what I did. It was a really fun trip. I made it out of there with only a few scrapes. And I only lost a couple times is what I mean by that expression. So I still have I have a few hundred in my name, which feels pretty good. And probably use that on Christmas presents and whatnot. But yeah, so I've eaten all my food. I've been rambling for quite a bit. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if there's anything else you want me to, I also watched the next movie. Well, I also watched the movie that's in theaters now, Red One. I don't know if I'm gonna talk about that. Maybe if I do a Christmas film. like a Christmas movie review video. I think I should probably just watch Christmas movies for the next few days, and I can do a few movie reviews. Because I wanted to make this a Storytime movie review. I've talked about the anime, I think, in my last 2 videos. So I want to bring back some of the other people who just want to listen, just listen to me ramble about movies. But don't worry, anime people. I still got you. I've been watching a few, and I'm gonna, I'm also watching One Piece and everything. So stay tuned for all of that, and stay tuned for all your guys' requests. Okay, I'm just working on how I can. Maybe this is what I'll do, because I know a certain individual is waiting on a tier list video. I think I'm gonna rank Christmas movies, and I think I can work that into a video. And I'm thinking of this on the spot. I could change it, so don't take my word for nothing. But that's something I could probably do, because that'd be really easy for me. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching.